Are you of the philosophy that if you teach a game, you have to lose the game?
Oh, that's an interesting question. That's a really interesting question. I
I will not lose.
like
No,
like
not, I'm
like
not playing soft on you if I teach you the game. That's it. That's just it.
okay, but are you going to try to win?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Like
try to demolish you.
that's actually true. You do that. I know that's how you function.
Not holding back.
No, here's my idea, right? And I I don't disagree with people that feel like they shouldn't win if they teach the game. I understand that philosophy. That makes sense to me. When I teach a game, I utilize that opportunity to explore a facet of that game that I have not explored yet.
Mm, mm.
So if
Ooh,
I'm teaching something like maybe like Ticket to Ride, let's say I'm teaching that to my parents,
yeah.
I might that game just try and get a big hand of tickets or cards and just see if I can just get such a big hand of cards that at the very end of the game, I just make routes.
Mm, mm.
And see, maybe that'll work. Maybe
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing I can do that game.
I wouldn't do that
Uh-huh.
just because I'm not helping the other players learn the game if I'm not actively playing the game.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I get that, and that's sort of where my example breaks down. But
Mm,
you
mm.
understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is that
Try something new.
I might try something new where it's like, oh, last time I played this game, doing this path seemed like it could maybe work. Let me try that. That's something I wouldn't normally try, but let me try to focus on doing this thing and see if it's a way to win, or if you really have to kind of do everything,
Mm,
or if it's
mm.
just something extra and you have to focus on this other aspect of the game.
Nope, I'm gonna crush you with the biggest strategy, the
That's
best
fair.
strategy,
The best
the
one.
best one of all the strategies.
Best
For all the
strategy.
pointers, all the points,
Everyone
the good
knows
points.
about it. You know about it. Believe me, it's the best. It's the best strategy. And just the other day, I heard someone say that there wasn't any better strategies because we had the best one. Believe it. A lot of people are talking about it.
High
They
score.
said, I've never even heard of strategy and I know this one and it's the best one.
Exactly. Just like this is the best list of top 30 games of all time.
Mhm.
My name is Rich, and this is,
Jake.
and we are the missing component.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome. We are going over our top 30 games of all time. This is the second video, 11 through 20. And yeah, so if you hadn't had a chance to look at that video, be sure to click on over and watch that one before this one, I
Yeah,
think.
take a look at that one first. I mean, that one moves right into this one. You definitely want to watch that one first and then come watch this one.
Exactly. This is a war that was a warm up, and we're getting into the meat of it right here for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before I jump in?
Only that I'm waiting on bated breath to hear what your number 20 is.
Oh, you would like to know, wouldn't you? Get your
That
pen
is what I
out.
said.
Take notes. My number 20
Uh-huh.
is a
Ooh.
scary game, a horror
Ooh.
themed
Horror
game.
themed game.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I have good variety. I don't know if you knew this.
Oh,
I have the
interesting.
best variety of
Is
games.
it horrified?
It is not horrified.
Okay.
It is Awaken Realms.
Hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a survival horror game where you're on a spaceship and you are part of a crew that has woken up from hypersleep. And intruders have entered.
This is Nemesis?
This is Nemesis.
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 Okay. All right. I've never seen you play this game, but it's your favorite. Okay.
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. Like, so I rank my games based on experiences, and I had a
Sure.
really good experience with this one. And so, yeah, the idea is that you are part of a crew and you're cooperatively trying to achieve an objective, but also you can't do it alone. And there's also like maybe a traitor with you know personal goals, and your personal goal might conflict with another person's personal goal, and so you're also trying to keep the ship alive, uh safe until you get off the ship because there's aliens and queens and all kinds of
Sure.
stuff
I've
ravaging
never
through.
played this one. Is it true that the game could be over in like 30 minutes?
Yeah, I was talking to Leslie about this because we had a table
Mhm.
last Friday that was playing this, and apparently she thought there was a mechanism that prevented the queen from jumping on the table in the first couple rounds.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that was the case. I know I did have a play where the queen was like one of the first intruders on the map and kind of destroyed us because we just kept
Mhm.
running the entire time.
Right.
But that's the same exact situation what happened with the table on Friday that the queen was right on the board and wrecking havoc
Yeah.
the whole time.
A lot of people super love this one. I mean, super thematic, right? It's got the alien theme going on, right? It's pushing that IP as far as they can push it without actually being that IP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this game gets a lot of love, right? I mean,
Oh, so
the people that like it are just that play it,
it,
roll over it,
right.
which makes sense. It is a like thematic dripping game, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It plays up to 5. Um, it plays. I don't know if it plays pretty quick. I think um,
It's like a longer game, right?
it's longer
Yeah.
for sure. It's definitely longer than 2 hours, but I feel like that 2 hours goes by pretty fast.
Sure. Yeah. You don't notice it because you're having fun
You're
or
having
you're
so much
dying
fun. Yeah, you're
or
always
both.
active on other people's turns too.
Mhm.
So that is my number 20, Nemesis.
Solid pick.
Yeah.
Maybe one of your most thematic picks so far. My number 20 um is also fairly thematic for a Euro game. This is one where it is a action selection game where you're collecting different cubes and they represent thoughts or expressiveness or ideas.
Hmm.
And then you have a little family of farmers and you're training them to be different um workers
Mhm,
out
mhm.
in your communal village.
Village.
Village. Village,
So
yes.
you were trying not to say it.
I
I was
was
like,
I was gonna end with it,
yeah,
yeah, but you got it right there. You
there
got
it
it
is.
right there before I did. I really enjoy this one just from the get-go. You can start having your farmers go out and give them jobs, right? And you say, okay, well, this guy, he's the wagon maker and he's the one who's going to make the wagons for
Mm.
me.
Mhm, mhm.
And with those wagons, he is going to let his son travel the world. And he might spend his entire life
Mhm.
making 2 wagons, right? But that's gonna let this other family member sort of travel the world and see the sights. Or, maybe some person gets into politics and they get right up to the end of politics. They become the mayor of the town, and then immediately die. Or
Okay.
right? So this game can tell a lot of, like, really interesting sort of, funny tales with how you work your family.
Yeah.
It's got an interesting mechanism where as you're positioning your people around this town to fill different roles and do different things and take different actions, time is ticking down. And when time makes a complete rotation around your board, your oldest family member, someone has to kick the bucket.
Yeah.
But if they were in a job, they get remembered in the annals of history and you get extra victory points at the end of the game for them.
Mhm, mhm.
But if they kind of were just a layabout, they don't actually go in those annals of history and they get, buried in an unmarked grave,
Oh, bummer.
right? A little bit of a bummer. But that can be useful too, depending on how you
Mhm.
position yourself in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played this with you.
you did.
I did not enjoy my play with you.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think this was one where you taught me and you did not take a different strategy. You destroyed us.
I don't I don't know if you even finished that game.
Did we?
I don't know. It was definitely one of those games where I think looking back, I probably would have played something different
Mhm.
with that particular group of people
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we played with. And I'm going to say that it's possible that in a different um
Timeline.
environment you might have enjoyed
Mm.
the game a little bit more.
Okay.
Now I'm not sure. It's possible.
That
But
was but the timeline thing was the
mhm,
most frustrating part for me because I wanted to hold on to my guy,
sure.
and he kept
You have to.
I had to like time it right to where he did the most work before he passed away. I was like, oh man.
Such is
That's
life.
frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That is the thrust of the game. Yeah. But it's those interesting decisions that keep me coming back to it. Yeah.
Cool.
And, you know, you tell little stories. You say, this guy, he went and he made 2 carts and he was the cart maker, and
Yeah.
he helped his son get across the world. And his brother was the one who went into politics and made it, you know, legal for him to actually cross the borders. So, because, you know, we didn't let anyone out of the village before then.
Interesting. Yeah. That's something I don't do with games enough. Make just to have fun.
No. You don't have fun
No.
enough in games?
I don't know. Maybe at the store it's like a wild environment. There's so much going on. All right, take your turn. Hurry up. We got to get another game in. It's like, ugh. But yeah, let's make stories.
It's important to
like stories.
You know, it's games that tell stories are really important, and you know, I want you to have fun when you play your games, Richard.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Good pick.
Let's work on that. Let's call that your New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution. Let's do it.
Thank you. That was my number 20. Village.
The Village, big box.
Just regular.
Okay.
Village.
All right, my number 19 is a space game by Red Raven. I think it's the only space game by Red Raven. Empires of the Void 2, number 2. There's a lot going on in this game. It's not a 4X, but there's a lot going on. There's planets that you can try to control. You're trying to build up ships. You're moving around the board, doing different things. There's a bunch of different races that you can. Not races. What, like alien
factions?
Factions. Let's use factions. I like factions better.
All right.
And they all have the special abilities that you can hire and then utilize them on your ships, and you can build up your ship. And there's all kinds of cool stuff that's going on. I've played this maybe like 2 times. But I really enjoyed my experience with it.
It's a neat one. A lot of those Ryan Lockett games kind of have the same kind of through line as far as the games go. Like they kind of feel a little similar to each other, or they have like a connecting thread. Like, oh, this part of this game feels like this part of this game. Is that the case with this one?
I think no, because this is outside of Arzium. Which Arzium is, you know, these 3 games here are all in Arzium.
Mythical world,
yeah, with different creatures and stuff. This space one is more aliens and spaceships and stuff like that, so it feels definitely different. Also, there's no you know, Ryan Lockett has the story excerpts that you read through, like Near and Far. You'll have like an excerpt that you read through to kind of carry out a specific action.
Nothing like that one in this game.
Nothing like that. This is strictly you are trying to earn the most victory points.
Yeah. Bring it down sometime. We'll play it. Cool. Sounds really neat. I love a lot of Red Raven stuff, so
yeah,
it's good.
That's my number 19, Empires of the Void 2.
So this is a Friedman Freese game.
Friedman Freese.
This is like his game. This is the one everyone knows.
Sloth? Fast Sloth.
Power Grid.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah. Everyone knows. Power Grid.
The one everyone knows. Power Grid, yeah. And this one just has a lot of really tense decision making. Every bid as far as when you buy those power plants is really important. The turn order is really important, because if you're doing well, you're going to go further down in turn order. So your resources are going to be more expensive because of how the market works. Really interesting how that market works out. Positioning on the board is really important, because if you're next to some cheaper cities that you can expand into, people are going to expand next to you and sort of clog up the board. But if you're in an area where it's a little bit more expensive, you might be more free to expand, but it's going to cost more. So just lots of interesting decisions every turn. It's a very tight game. This is not one I want to play every single weekend. And it is one that requires a lot of math, right? Because you need to get numbers down in your head, even sometimes down to the dollar, right? You don't have a lot of extra money to just throw around in this game. You need to say, if I spend 27 on that, that'll let me spend 18 on these resources, and I'll have exactly $14 left to expand into this city.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a brain burner. You get a little tired after you play the game, but it's a neat one. Very, very unique. A lot of tight decisions.
Yeah.
You've played this before?
I have played this before, a long time ago. Probably one of my first games that when I just got into the hobby, I played this.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that was my number 19,
That's
Power
cool.
Grid.
Cool. That's a staple.
Sure is. Yeah. I mean,
You got to play Power Grid.
You got to play Power Grid, right? You go Catan, you Ticket to Ride, Power Grid, Twilight Imperium.
There you go. So if you're taking notes, there you go.
All right.
My number 18. Is this our first crossover? I would say this is a first crossover.
So I haven't said it yet, but you really think I'm gonna have this on my list?
Oh well, this is for sure on your list.
Oh.
Underwater.
Oh, Abyss.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a curveball though.
Okay.
This is actually Abyss. The conspiracy.
The card game version.
Conspiracy. Abyss.
You like that better than the board game one?
I like this better than the other one.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Card game is a smaller design.
It's a small box.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper, a lot more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the kings or the guys that have like abilities in the box, those are the kings, right?
The
special abilities, and the locations have special abilities.
Monarchy or
yeah. I feel like that was a bit too much for what the game was.
Interesting.
And Conspiracy just brings it down. Just cuts the fat, I think.
I like Conspiracy, the card game version of it. And I mean I've played it a number of times, but it's good. I think I prefer the board game.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer the board game. But okay, good pick. I mean, they feel similar. They have a similar feel, when you play them, for sure.
Yeah, I got to play this a couple times, and it's on BGA too.
Right.
Very, very simplistic.
Wait, this one? Oh, the card game is on BGA.
The card game's on BGA.
Okay.
What I feel Abyss is essentially a set collection game, so I don't expect it to be having all these special powers, and you got to explain the powers, then you got to explain the pearls and all the other stuff.
I like those special powers.
I do too, but for what it is, if you're explaining it to a new,
it's easier.
Yeah,
it's easier to explain and learn. Yeah, I think I taught that game in like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
exactly. You do this. The only hard part is talking about making the inverse pyramid,
upside down pyramid.
Yeah, you make the inverse pyramid, and then you want similar colors to touch.
Yeah,
and then people are like, "Oh, I just want to put them here." No, you can't. You can't just put them anywhere.
Yeah, that's my number 18, Conspiracy Abyss.
Good pick. Yeah, I like a little card game. That's solid.
There you go.
So my number 18. I don't know if you've played this one. I don't think so. It didn't get a ton of buzz. It was I guess it is a Paolo Mori game.
What year did it come out?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard with that one. But it's sort of came and went, and then it got really hard to find. People really wanted it, and people couldn't find it, and it got kind of expensive. But now it's getting a reprint, and it's coming out again this year.
Okay.
In sort of a better edition, kind of a deluxe version-ish. Although this version in itself is quite deluxe. In fact, it's a little overproduced, if you ask me.
Oh. Enlighten me.
Dogs of War.
Wow.
Dogs of War. Have you played this?
I have not played this.
Okay, yeah. So this is a worker placement game at its core. But the theme of it is that you are mercenary bands fighting for or against 6 different factions in the game. And the factions will essentially war at random, and it really is like at random which ones war against each other. And you fight for a band that you choose, and you might choose to fight for them because, well, at the end of the game, if they win this fight, I get one of their flags, and their flags are worth victory points.
Oh, okay.
You might decide to fight for them because the action spots that I go to fight for them give me a lot of good resources or give me a lot of more power. You might decide to go fight for them because someone else is fighting against them and you want to beat them up because they give you victory points and you can take stuff from them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So your allegiance is not to a specific faction. Your allegiance is to yourself, and you might fight on the green sides on one turn, and the next turn you might fight against the green faction. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a worker placement game. You place your really they're busts. They're really like large torso head, giant hats with feathers of people on this board, and you place like a fighting unit, and then it's a tug of war. And there's 3 areas, and there's tugs of war on each side, and then whoever has the most value on their side in each round wins.
Cool.
And you get some rewards for winning. You can work together, form alliances, and then next round they don't mean anything, right? Now we're working against each other.
Cool.
In fact, we can be working together here, and we can be working against each other here in the same round.
Wow,
that's really interesting.
Yeah. Sounds really cool. I got to check that one out.
Well, it's getting a reprint this year. So Dogs of War number 18.
Cool, man. We got to make another side list of all the games that we got to play together.
I know, right? Yeah. I'll bring Dogs of War. It's a good one.
All right. My number 17 is a John D. Clare game.
Okay.
That came out in 2023.
Okay. Newer.
You roll meeples into a box, and depending on how they stand, you'll get resources.
This is Pass the Pig? This is Pass the Pig?
This is Pass the Pig, the city building game. No, it's called Rolling Heights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is super cool because the components definitely are fun and playful, and you're having fun the whole time because you are engine building and you're getting meeples that you get to roll into a box, and depending on how they land, like they can land on their head, and that would be like, oh, you're a mediocre worker.
How are you rolling them? Like with your hands? Or?
Yeah, like
okay.
just like, and then toss them in.
Okay.
But if they stand on their feet, oh, they're hardworking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if they lay down, they're lazy working. So they don't get you any benefits.
Oh, okay.
But the push your luck element is like if you roll less than half and they're laying down, then you get to grab all the laying down ones and roll them over again. And you're using them to basically gain resources that then you can turn those resources into buildings on this city map. And each tile that you place out there has like a requirement for how many building tokens on a tile. And so as you're building them, you're stacking them up like Legos. We're all doing this together, so the board ends up becoming this giant like Lego looking pyramid thing with all these stacks of tokens all over the place.
Very interesting.
And it's very fun.
I'm always very interested in these games that have, and I'm going to say, disconnect between the actions you're doing to gain like the resources to essentially play a pretty straightforward like building game or like contract fulfillment game, or tile placement game.
Right.
So you're physically rolling meeples, and how they land determines what you get to place tiles on this board to score victory points. Reminds me of things like, I don't know, Pass the Pig. I don't know if you ever played like Shootles. Shootles is a similar kind of game where it's an economic game. It's an economic game. It's actually like a stock market game, but you get to invest in different aspects of it by shooting. They're gnomes. You shoot these gnomes out of a cup out of the board, but you don't want to shoot them all out of the cup. They're little shootles.
Okay. Well, that was my number 17, Rolling Heights. I like that game a lot.
Yeah. My 17 is a racing game.
Okay.
I found that I really enjoy these kind of racing games. This is a recent one from Days of Wonder.
Okay. Fast.
Heat.
Heat. I knew it was one word.
Heat. Pedal to the metal. This is one of those games where the first time you play it, and it sort of happened to me, it was like, okay, that was good. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I'll play it again. But then you do play it again, and it sort of reveals itself a little bit more to you on the second play. Oh, there's a little bit more going on under the hood. Pun intended. There's a lot of interesting aspects to this game
Yeah.
that are only compounded when you start doing the Grand Prix modes and adding in all of the sort of mini expansions that come in the box.
That's what I haven't tried yet.
You have to
Yeah.
start playing like that, because that is going to let you not only just have your car, but your car is now going to be unique from everybody else's. And the first thing that you do is you sort of draft powers for your car. So you might start out with an extra speed card that is a 4 or a 5. And that's going to be floating around in your deck. Or you might have some extra body where it's like, oh, whenever this card comes up, I can just discard a heat for free. So I can get some free cool off. So now I'm going to take more heat.
Cool.
But then as you play, you get rewarded for doing well by being able to put more of those cards in your deck. Sort of your pit crew kind of upgrade your cards a little bit.
Nice.
So you say, okay, so it's about being a little bit more consistent. But then you can add in like the paparazzi that like snaps pictures of you. And if you are a little bit riskier, then you get extra rewards. So then you say, okay, well, actually, maybe I want to be a little bit riskier so that I can get a really good card for next race.
Cool.
Right.
I like that you can play this with pretty much anyone. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, Days of Wonder does really good at.
Oh yeah, I've taught this to everyone, right? And I mean, I think at one of the conventions we were at, it just got played over and over just because it was just set up, and people were like, "Oh, this plays 6 and it plays 6 well. Let's just play it. Oh, this plays 4 well and it's set up. Let's just play it." It just get played over and over again.
Heck yeah,
yeah,
love that one.
So that is Heat. Pedal to the Metal, my number 17.
My number 16 is a huge game, but it plays in under an hour.
Is it called Rome? Is it just called Rome?
Foundations
of Rome.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes.
This is a really cool. Oh my gosh. The first time I played this was at Dice Tower West. They had a booth set up, and then the guy that was teaching it was very quick. You know, go ahead and take your turn. This is what you're going to do. And it mixes like Bunny Kingdom with like, you know, you're trying to control different plots of the land. And then when you control a shape of land, you can place one of your buildings, like replace one of your buildings with your pieces on the board. And those buildings will give you like income, it'll give you population and all these cool little things. And I don't know, maybe it was the environment, but every time I played this since then, it's been so much fun because it's just super simple, and it hits all those like SimCity vibes for me, where like you're building buildings and it's going to generate income, and then you have like a row of plot cards that you're drafting or buying off the road. I forget how exactly it's played, but
there's that push your luck sort of thing where you have maybe a plot of 2.
Yeah.
And like, but I also have the one away from it.
Yeah.
So do I just build that 2, or do I maybe wait and maybe I can get that 4th one right there and then build a really long one?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I want to build income buildings because I need more income soon, but there's really valuable spots out there. So maybe I'll buy a couple spots first, but then I really need to take income. Then you have to balance building income buildings versus building like the victory point, like people buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a neat one.
Yeah, it was just so much fun. I mean, it's really expensive, and I think there's a like a dumbed down version.
Foundations of Metropolis. Yeah.
Okay,
it's the exact same game.
Okay.
It just uses, cardboard tiles instead of giant miniature buildings.
It's completely unnecessary, but
this is one of those games that like
fun.
walks the line of what is a miniature?
Yeah.
Because a building that's this big and I plunk it on the board, I guess that's a miniature technically.
Well, that's my number 16. I can't remember the numbers.
Yeah, super good one. This was in my 50s.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that game a lot. I have the dumbed down version.
Dummy.
Yeah, my number 16 is not a racing game, but it does have a race in the title.
For the Galaxy?
Yes, Race for the Galaxy. Yes.
Nice.
But this is one that I've had for a long time. I've gotten tons and tons of plays out of. This is one I used to play in college, and we would play 3 or 4 player games, and we would play in about 15 minutes, and we would just play back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Right, just all afternoon. We would play 8 games in a row.
Nice.
shuffle up, replay, shuffle up, replay. Yeah, and we all got just really good at it. Sort of that reading about what your opponents are going to do, because you get to pick one action every turn. Okay, I'm gonna settle some planets, because I really think Jim is going to explore, and I really want to explore, but I don't want to play explore. And Stacy is going to produce, which will be good for me, because then I can produce on these 2 planets, and next turn I can actually sell those goods. But if she doesn't do that, then what is she going to do? She might develop, and then it's a dead turn. I'm not going to be able to develop anything. So there's a lot of like reading your opponents. What are they about to do? Thinking about what they have on their tableau. Because there's lots of ways to earn victory in this game, right? You can do your race for the galaxy thing, where you just put 12 cards on the table as fast as possible, and just beat everybody that way. Or
that
you
very rarely wins the game, though.
So you might be surprised.
Yeah.
Or you can get a couple of good production planets and just hit production really hard. Cheap ones, some browns, some blues, and you start hitting those productions really hard. Boom, boom, boom.
I find the ships strategy, the shipping, because you're shipping, you're getting points for the cards, but you're also getting points if you ship a good of a particular color.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, you're trying to find the most victory points, and that's what another one of those games where, okay, yeah, I'm doing these things, but I need victory points. Where do I get the victory points?
Right.
So that's one of the ways.
Right. But that can be difficult, right? Because shipping happens before you produce. So you need to produce things and then ship them. You can't sort of produce. You can't sort of
You got to line
produce and then ship. You need to produce in one turn and then ship the next.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting choices, and you get to kind of know the deck of the card, know what the deck and how the cards work, and like what you're looking for when you get good at it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Some people prefer the roll for the galaxy, the dice version.
Yeah.
Very good game. I like it a lot. This is the one I keep coming back to, though, because I'll play either one. Whatever.
So Roll for the Galaxy was the first board game I ever purchased.
Yeah. I think you told me that once. Yeah.
I was looking for a game that had the most components for the amount of money that I was getting. And
that'll do it. Yeah.
That one had a lot of
With
dice.
all those custom dice. Yeah.
It is loud, though.
That's the best part.
Don't bring it to game night.
Now you want to get a group of 5 of you playing that at game night. All right, everybody. Everyone looks at you. It's great. It's a communal game, right? Everyone knows you're playing your Roll for the Galaxy.
Exactly.
But not Roll for the Galaxy. Race for the Galaxy was my number 16.
16. All right, my number 15 we played, and you hated this game. You absolutely hated this game because you were not able to do anything on your turn.
Oh, I know this.
And it was funny.
This is Outlive?
This is Outlive.
This is Outlive. But yeah.
It's such a good game.
Not in my top 10.
This it does help if you've played it before. Because you know what's coming up next.
It doesn't help when the person teaching you openly admits that he wants to crush you.
But yeah. So Outlive is a post-apocalyptic game where there's worker placement spots all around the board, but you don't actually just plop your dude down. You get to move him 1 or 2 spaces around this kind of rondel board situation. And not only that, you have a number on your meeple guy that gives you a power. So when you place them on a spot, you're going to get to do that action that many times. So it can be 3, 4, or 5. And so if you land on, taking chips, the spots have multiple uses. You can go hunting and farm for wood on a spot. You can go to like one of the city areas. You can search for stuff, or you can purchase weapons. But the weapons will allow you to maximize your ability at certain locations. You're going to want to build those and then do the thing. And then at the end of it all, what you're really trying to do is get a bunch of people on your base, because the more people that you save, the more points you're going to get. People don't like this because once you land at a particular spot, if your power or your guy's power level is higher than anybody else that's there, you get to aggress them. And if they don't have any bullets to defend, then you they have to give you a resource, and resources are very tight in this game.
Certainly a lot of player interaction in this one.
There's a lot of player. This is so funny, and this probably will be the next random question because this is kind of infuriating for me, where people will be on the hard side of, oh, this game has way too much player interaction. It's so hard, and then there's other games with very light player interaction that like, this has no player interaction. This is just a solo game. It's like you can't.
Well, I like both. It just depends on the game, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely some games that I play and I'm like, I just don't want anyone to kind of mess with my thing, right?
Yeah.
And there's also games where I'm like, I kill your building.
Kill your building. Give me your resource.
Steal this.
Pew, pew, pew.
This is mine now. Yeah, so it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I respect your opinion.
Yeah, so that's my I have the funny story about this, but we'll save that later. This is my number 15, Outlive. It's a really good one. Check it out.
Hard to find, right?
It's so hard to find that when you say that it's hard to find, it will appear everywhere you look.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. My number 15, I don't think you've played.
Okay.
This is not like a widely super popular game, but it's floating around, and the people that know.
Yeah.
It's Francis Drake. Everyone is a privateer, a Spanish privateer that is sent to essentially sack the Caribbean. And the way you do that,
it's not Uncharted.
No.
Isn't that his name too, Francis Drake? No.
It's his name is Drake in the
Drake.
game. Yeah, because he's like a descendant of Francis Drake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a throwback.
Yeah.
Wow. But no, in what we're talking about,
yeah,
you play over 3 voyages, and in those voyages, the first thing you do is you prepare for your voyage by collecting different resources down this harbor. And this harbor has the ratcheting mechanism where you can go as far up the harbor as you want, but you can never go back. And of course, it's first come, first serve on the juicier resources. So maybe you want that spot that gives you 4 supplies so that you can sail all over the entire map.
Okay.
But it's halfway up the harbor.
Yeah.
So you're skipping out on some crew, on going to the bar, on getting some spices just to get all these supplies, right?
Like Tokaido.
Kind of similar, yeah. But then after you've collected your crew, your supplies, your spices, and you've bribed all of the governors of the town that you want to bribe, you set sail. And the way you set sail is you plan your voyage by placing these tokens face down on the board where you want to go. And your 1 token is where you go first. Your 2 tokens is where you go second.
Cool.
But you don't place them out in order. Place them out in whatever order you want.
Okay.
So I could be bluffing, right? You place your token here and say, well, I'm going to sack this village. That's my plan. And I place a token there and say, well, I'm going to sack it too. And you know, the first person that gets there and sacks it's going to get all the treasure.
Yeah.
So what'd you put there? You put a 2 there. That's pretty good.
That's cool.
But if I put my 1 there, I'm just going to beat you there, right?
So and then you play your tokens at the same time and reveal it at the end.
Everyone plays their tokens in turn order. So like I'll put 1 down face down. You'll put 1 down face down. Next player will put 1 down face down.
Yeah.
And then after everything, you just all the tokens flip up.
Yeah.
And then you essentially after that, there's no decisions. You just
do
the board.
Yeah.
Do the board essentially.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's 1 voyage. Next voyage, everything resets. You do it again.
Is this pirates?
Yeah.
It's like a pirate thing?
They're not fantasy pirates. They're like actual like privateers. What they were. So like
cool.
Yes, pirates. And like that's one of the actions in the game is that you can go to Francis Drake and he'll like tell you a story and it'll attract so many people that like you'll get either a ton of crew or like a ton of weapons from like going to him and him telling you his stories. But then he's so long-winded that your next turn you have to just go there again and you don't get as much good stuff for going there the second time.
Wow, that seems super cool. Super fun.
It's a real neat one, yeah. It didn't get a ton of buzz, but you can find it around. Francis Drake, really well produced. All the components are amazing, especially for a game that's like 10, 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, number 15, Francis Drake. Check it out.
Let's write that on my list. All right. My number 14 is a game that been meaning to play it so many times, haven't had the chance to. And it's an asymmetric game that is similar to Root, but it is not Root. It is Vast.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Particularly the Vast, the Mysterious Manor. I demoed this at Gen Con 2019, and I had such a blast demoing it. The story that it interweaves and allows you to tell with the different characters and the variety of powers and yeah, like the win conditions for each one are different and are fun. And all you have to do is just like follow, just like Root. I mean, you just follow the rules like 1 through 5 for each.
I've played the
person.
Crystal Caverns version.
Yeah.
Is this similar?
This is, yeah, it's similar. It's interchangeable. So you can use the Paladin in the first one with the Knight in the second, or whatever version they're from, but you can swap those two characters. You can make the Spider Queen, the dragon, and vice versa, and all that stuff.
And the interplay is still there where essentially like you're interacting with the two other factions that are like your left and your right, basically. Like the Paladin is trying to kill the boss, and the little goblins are trying to overwhelm the Paladin, that kind of thing. Okay. Yeah.
There's all kinds of different stuff going on, but it's super fun, super interesting. I love teaching it for sure. But that's my number 14, Vast.
All right.
Mysterious Manor.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I played Vast. But yeah, it was a cool game, right? I mean, Root blew that company out of the water, right? Like that's really what they're known for at this point.
Yeah. Vast was the first one. I think it was their
one of their first ones. Yeah, definitely worth people going back and looking at that one.
Yeah,
that's a cool game. Yeah. My number 14 is a reprint of sorts. It's a reprint of an older-ish game, and the reprint came out and included all of the expansions and an extra expansion that was never printed before. It's about railroads.
Ultimate Railroads.
Ultimate Railroads. Ultimate Railroads.
Okay.
Yeah. Have I played this one with you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. I remember that play. Yeah. Yeah. Ultimate Railroads. So Ultimate Railroads is a worker placement game, where you are building out a section of 3 different railroads that are in front of you, and you have to lay down sort of the foundation first. Then you can build the better rails on top of it, and then you can build like super nice rails on top of that. And there's also a track on the bottom of the board that helps you build up different actions based on some factories that you can add. But it's all done via this worker placement game on the main board in the center. And it's a super tight worker placement game because only one person can go in each spot, and each spot is pretty unique. So if you want to be the person that builds a factory this round, there's only 3 spots on the board that does that. And so you better take one, right? If you want to be the person that buys an engineer that gives you an extra action you can do every round, there's only one of those spots. So you better take that first. If you want to earn more money, there's only one spot on the board that gets you money. So
yeah.
But other than that, the game is about you pushing these rails forward, earning you as many points as possible at the end of each round. Getting them to certain spots are going to unlock extra actions for you, unlock special benefits. Different maps are going to have different varying tracks that are going to allow you to get different bonuses.
Different maps.
So depending on what map you play, a few of the rules are going to be a little bit different. A few of the tracks are going to be a little bit different. Some of them have like a shared market of factories. Some of them have an individual market of factories.
But it's not a train game.
No, it's a game about trains, but it is not a train like pick up and deliver or route building game.
Yeah.
It is a worker placement. Move up this track as fast as possible and then do it again game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like this because it does scratch that itch where I want to be creative with my turns. And you can do what you want to do if you just got to be a little bit creative.
That's true. Yeah. So if a spot you want gets taken, Sometimes you can find a way around it. You can
Mhm.
do something else. Oh, but if I take this action, that'll help me push this up, and that will actually get me the action I want to get
Yeah.
in the first place. But maybe that action is going to be gone. So who knows,
Yeah.
right? You have to really um, use smart tactics on your turn to figure out exactly what you want to do. Tight game, it's brain burny, very thinky,
Yeah.
lots going on, heavier, but really neat.
Yeah.
Really neat.
I liked it.
Mm. That was my number 14, Ultimate Railroads, which is the version you can get. You can't really find the original stuff, but you want Ultimate Railroads anyway because you want everything.
Yeah.
All the maps and everything.
I feel like the word ultimate just like is too much for a railroad game.
Hmm.
Ultimate.
Well,
rail-
yeah, you think Ultimate Railroads, and then you sit down and you're
Ultimate.
like, now
This is just railroads.
earn
Like
$2.
regular railroads.
Nothing regular about this game. This game's great.
All right. My number 13. This is one I feel like we're gonna have a crossover on.
I'm interested.
Possibly.
Okay.
It's another Red Raven game.
Okay.
This is I don't know. How do I explain this one without giving it away? It's neither here nor there. It is.
I don't know if you've played Now or Never, so it must be Above and Below.
No, it is now and never.
Oh,
Or-
okay. Oh, okay.
Or near and far.
Near and Far.
Now or never. That is a game. What the?
Yeah, that's his newest one. Now or Never.
No, I haven't played that one.
That's what I said.
They all sound the same. That's why.
They do. It's well.
Yeah. So near and far is a fun game. Wow. There's like a worker placement spot, but then you're just trying to use the worker placement spots in the town to kind of generate your prowess or adventuring abilities out on the map.
Mhm.
And so, and you want to be able to set up camp on these different spots, but then there's an ongoing story where you can play 10 games of this, and over the course of them, you unlock a bunch of different stuff. Parts of a story might show up on your playthrough, and something completely different could happen in somebody else's playthrough, and so that's always interesting. There's these little story pieces that go on the board, and you're able to unlock the story as
Yeah.
you play. And so I just find that really fun and interesting because you can. I mean, it's not a legacy style game; it's an adventure style game, and you're playing campaign campaign.
A campaign element if you want that, or
If you
there's you
want
can
it,
play it
yeah.
in single bursts,
Yeah.
or you can play it as like a character story where everyone picks up a character and you kind of have your own
Yeah. I
campaign that way. Yeah, it's really interesting because it's an action selection game at its core, but also it's an adventure game
Yeah.
because you're using those actions to essentially prepare for your adventure across the land, and you set up camps, and that's the way that you gain like the main resource that is going to earn you points, whatnot.
Money, all the good stuff.
Yeah, really neat one. I love how different that game feels depending on which map you play with. Right, because I played with the first map a couple of times, and it was like, okay, and then you play with the second map, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's actually there's different stuff happening, and then the third map is, a little bit tighter. It's kind of more difficult to move around this way, or you have to be more creative with how you adventure across the map and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My number 13.
It's a great pick. Great pick. Brian Lockett really knocks it out of the park, let me tell you.
Hell yeah.
My number 13 is a newer game. It's a
What is it?
very new game.
Oh, shoot.
It's a very new game. It came out quite recently.
Okay.
The first time I saw this one was at Gen Con this year.
Yeah.
And I totally ignored it. I thought, oh, that just looks like some kind of deduction game. I don't really, but it's not a deduction game. It's a Euro game. This is SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. This is definitely like a Euro game. You are, I would compare it a little bit to like an Arc Nova, sort of.
Okay.
But you are essentially in the game sending out probes from Earth These probes are going to be moving around our solar system. The solar system itself is going to move as well because the board has a circular movement system that can change your trajectory and change how you navigate
Yeah.
2 different planets, landing on those planets and finding traces of extraterrestrial intelligence.
Mm.
Once you found enough of those traces, you discover an alien species, and then that changes the game for everyone. So while you're going and exploring Mars and Jupiter and Venus, eventually, oh, someone's going to do a scan and find, wow, we've discovered extraterrestrial intelligence, and it changes the game in ways. Some of them add like a pick up and deliver element.
Oh,
Some of them add a set collection element. One of them is a push your luck game.
wow.
Yeah. So depending on what aliens or intelligences you find out there, it's going to sort of change the way you earn victory points, and all of them are going to let you draw these cards, and these cards are all really powerful. It has one of my favorite mechanisms, which
Mm.
is multi-use cards. You
Mm.
can use a card, play it. There's my action.
Yeah.
Some of the cards are missions, so I play it, and then I have to do something else, and then I get a bigger reward. I can play this card, just discard it, and I get like a little benefit. Or I can use this card as income, slide it underneath my starting card, and now every round I'm going to get more money, more energy, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So all of these cards were super useful. You always want to draw more of them. All of them are unique, so they're all really interesting. And a neat little cherry on top is that they're all real technology or future planned technology.
Mm.
So if you read like the flavor text on the bottom of the cards, you can learn a little bit about, SETI or extraterrestrial intelligence and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
I gotta play this.
This one is a longer game. I would say playing it with 3 is probably better just because, you're going to get more turns and it's going to go a little bit quicker. But I played with 4 and 3, and it's super good.
Wow.
Yeah, lots going on in this one. I love sending out my little probes and landing on Mars and being like, oh, we have found the obelisk.
It looks super cool on the table too. Very pretty.
Great table presence. Yeah. Lots of really nice colors in this one. I'm glad modern games aren't shying away from just being colorful and interesting to look at,
Yeah.
especially from CGE. 13, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to play that one. My number 12.
Yes.
This is a deck builder and dungeon delving.
We're talking about something in the Clank line.
We are definitely talking everything Clank.
Just everything.
Just everything
Clank.
Because it's very similar across the board.
Okay.
You are deck building. You start with a basic deck. You're adding more abilities to your deck. You're trying to travel on a board into a dungeon and trying not to make noise because noise is Clank, and Clank will stir up the dragon. And if you stir up the dragon, it might attack you.
He's going to get you.
When the dragon attacks, then you take a damage. And if you take 10 damage, you're dead. And depending on where you are in the dungeon, it could mean that you scored 0 points for the entire game. Or it can mean that you've been rescued. Yeah, so much to say. This was one of the first games I feel like revolutionized deck building because, like I said,
yeah, totally agree.
I started with Star Realms.
Oh, sure.
Right. Yeah. And so that was my first deck building. I had not played Dominion at all, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clank came out, and it just made it so much fun. I even introduced it to my brothers, and they enjoyed it so much too. And they weren't even board gamers at all. So, yeah, I don't know. Just everything about this game where your endorphins are running wild because you're playing your cards and getting little bonuses here and there, and you're going down even further to get treasure, and then you buy items with gold, and then you're upgrading your deck.
Super good. Yeah.
With all kinds of other stuff. So
no, you're right.
It's super fun.
Before this game, deck building was mainly thought of as like, that's what you did. It's Dominion, just Ascension. Deck build, you fight the monster. Or,
deck build, get some coins. Turn those coins into points.
And there might have been other games that were doing it around the same time as this, but this is the game that sort of popularized that, like, no, you're deck building for a different purpose, which is dungeon delving, exploring, trying to get a treasure and get out of there. Ooh, okay, interesting. Well, okay, you got to build your deck so that I can move around.
Yeah.
So that I can grab stuff and fight the goblins. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 12. Everything Clank.
Up in the rafters. That's where the Clank goes.
Yeah,
It's a good pick. Clank is a super good
love
game.
it.
Yeah. My number 12 is so this is a Martin Wallace game.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Familiar with a little bit of Martin Wallace? Yeah. This is not one of his more popular games, but it is. Forget about it. It's not worth it. If it's not brass, then it's trash. If it ain't brass, it's trash. That's what I always say. Although funny enough, there is brass in this game.
Okay.
This is Anno 1800.
Oh,
Board game.
I had a feeling this was going to be on there.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one where the more I play, the more I like it.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where I get so caught up in building different things and playing the game that I will forget to try to win.
Mm-hmm.
I'll forget to make victory points, and then mid game it'll be like, oh right, we're like playing a game. I'm sorry, I was so focused on building gunpowder and getting cannons, and I finally got my armada of ships. Now I don't know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit longer, but if you know the game, it can be pretty snappy. This is a lesser known Martin Wallace one, but yeah, it's really interesting. I love sort of seeing those lines where it's like, oh yeah, I can build sausages and soap because lots of my people want sausages and soap.
Yeah.
And then Tiffany built bread, but I'll just buy her bread. Like I can just trade her for it. Like I've got my trading ships and everything, and I can work on building up more trading ships later, and I'll just trade her for her bread. Yeah, I don't need to build windows. Richard built windows. Yeah, you have windows. I'll just borrow some windows, and that way I can build my automotive factory. You don't quite get the computers. You're like almost there.
Not the Windows operating system.
No. Yeah.
Windows, yeah.
With glass and frames.
I love this game because it's originally a PC game.
Yeah.
That I mean, I love any like sim building. You're building a city game, and this kind of, it's not city building, but it's got that element where what you're doing in the PC game is very much reminiscent of what you're doing in the.
It's like empire building.
Yeah,
is really what it is. Yeah. And yes, it did stem from a PC game, which I haven't explored at all. I don't really know anything about it. I understand the people that are
playthrough.
Yeah, the people that are into it are really into it. There's
Yeah.
like a huge community, a very vocal community that like super likes that game. I haven't really explored it. I like the board game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like that one. Good pick.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was my number 12, Anno 1800, the board game. If you're a fan of Martin Wallace and you haven't checked this one out, definitely do. It's a little hidden gem, I think.
My number 11.
Oh, this is it. This is like the last one for this video, right?
Last one.
This is like the number one of this video.
Yes.
So this is the best
just
of the not as good ones.
Yeah.
So like if you have like the second best, but like the best of that, it makes it sound really bad actually. It's like, who wants the best second best person?
This is a game that you probably wouldn't expect.
Okay.
Maybe you expect it. I don't know.
I don't know. Do I know it?
This is a
Do I
small
know
card game. This is a
small card game. Which is great.
But there's lots of depth in the cards. This is a game with a dragon that does nothing but allows you to take a picture of it.
Okay, I didn't know you liked this one as much as you did.
I love
this one. Is called Eternity.
Veil of Eternity.
Veil of Eternity. Yes.
Eternity.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite games of all time. I love this so much. And this is a game with you are taming monsters to your hand, and then you are using summoning stones to purchase them onto a tableau in front of you. And you can only have as many cards in front of you as there are rounds. So if it's round one, you can have one card in front of you. The interesting thing about this is that your resources are the summoning stones, and you can only have a maximum of 4 of those tokens in front of you at any time. So you're manipulating those tokens and trying to get as many as possible so that you can summon the best monsters, but they all have these different effects that are instant or ongoing, a bunch of different effects, and you're trying to score 60 points.
You're building this tableau of these creatures.
Yeah.
I found the currency system in that game to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because different creatures cost different amounts, but there's no change, and there's only ones, threes, and sixes.
Yeah.
So like when you earn money, you like earn it in those denominations, and then when you're paying for something, you have to pay with like a 3 and a 1, or like two ones specifically,
Mhm.
or you're gonna be like overpaying, I think, or do they even
Right, you overpay.
accept that currency?
Yeah, you can overpay.
Yeah. That was a really neat one. Yeah.
I like it a lot. I wanna play it all the time. Because it's pretty
Yes, you
snappy
do.
too.
Yeah.
It's pretty snappy. It's not like it plays in under an hour,
It's
maybe
quick.
45 minutes.
Yeah, it's quick one. Yeah.
There's a lot of depth in it.
But what's that
Lot-
dragon for? Like, what's that big piece that you paid for in the game? Like, what does it
It's just a
do?
piece of cardboard. Like you put
Does it like
Nope.
mark whose turn it is, or
No, not quite.
does it
You
like
just
does it like keep
literally
track of
says-
something?
Literally says in the rule book, use this to take pictures and post them on social
No,
media.
so it's like
That's it.
useless.
It's pretty. It's decoration.
Oh, your number 11 decoration.
That yeah, that is. There you go. Mandu Games.
Mandu Games. Okay. No, this actually it's a very good game. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's super good. My number 11 was also I think a very pretty game.
Okay.
This is a worker placement game from Stonemaier Games.
Viticulture.
Correct. Viticulture Essential Edition is the one you can get, the one you want to get.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Do you think this is pretty?
yeah, definitely.
What part?
I'm
just going. I'm gonna grill you on your last pick.
I know. Wow.
Really?
No. I can understand how someone might think that the board and the pieces are a little plain, but the look of the game has a very rustic feel to it. And it sort of reminds me of walking into like maybe, one of those wineries in Napa Valley, and you're in like the cellar and you're surrounded by those oak barrels, right? And it is very, it's very just sort of downplayed, right? There's the tones are more like grays and browns and reds.
Right, it's what you would see at a winery.
Exactly, sure. Yeah. And that's sort of the tone that fits the game for me, right? So yeah. And then of course the thing everyone talks about this game is the Grande worker, which is, you can only go to the certain spots on the board a certain number of times, but you always have that one trump card, the one big piece that can go anywhere. So even if someone's taking up all the spaces, I really wanted to plant this round. Boom, I can plant this round. I needed to sell my grapes. You can sell your grapes as well. Yeah. You only get one of those though, so you got to be careful.
Yeah. It's fun. I didn't really like it, but I'm glad it's on your list.
Okay.
I don't know why. It didn't sit well. Maybe we played at like we started at midnight. That was probably why.
Possible. Did we play it?
We played it here. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and then I promptly sold my copy.
Oh, no. Wow. I made that big of an impact on you. I'm so glad that I can
experienced it.
Well,
that's all I need.
The
to
game,
like or dislike a game.
I'm really happy that because I consider myself, someone who wants to share games with the world. So I'm really happy that I could share this game enough with you for you to realize that you didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
You wanted it gone.
I think I needed it in my collection just for a little bit. Like, everybody likes this game. I need to try it. I tried it.
Did you play your copy?
I did not play my copy.
Okay.
So I opened it, sorted it, got rid of it.
See, even you thought it was good enough to put on your shelf and not do anything with.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those staples. Like, you got to try it. We did it.
We sure did. We got through another 10 of these.
10.
Yeah.
One more video left.
Yeah, one more. And you know what? That video is going to be the best of the best, right? Because that's 10 to 1. Best. So essentially, Essential Edition,
Essentially.
This list is just like hot garbage.
Yeah.
And the previous list before this one, which the video you're supposed to watch before this,
Yeah.
well, I don't even know why you did
Hotter
that.
garbage. It was
Yeah.
cold garbage.
Cold garbage, yeah.
Nobody wants that.
You got cold garbage, you got hot garbage, and then you got
wet blankets.
The next video we're going to do, so definitely stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Which is top 10 of all time.
Top 10
of all time.
Of all time. So yeah, if you like this video, if you like this content, make sure to like, subscribe, do all the things. It really encourages us to make some more content and helpful. Yeah. Let us know in the comments which one of our games did you like? I think that's
cool. who had the better list?
Who had the better list? Thank you.
Yeah, because I think
I like that.
You know, I think this list, Richard had some more crowd pleasing picks on it, but if you've played any of the games on my list, you know that they're super good. So definitely tell us below who you think had the more interesting list.
Yeah. Thanks guys for watching. We're the Missing Component. I'm Rich.
Peace. I'm Jake.
Later.